Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Korman Productions Deep Dive TV Podcast with my co-host Stacie here to talk about The Institute, Season 1, Episode 3, titled Graduation. The episode's description reads as follows. Luke begins to plan his escape while Sigsbee is distracted trying to expose Stackhouse's disloyalty. Meanwhile, Tim loses a friend. The episode has a teleplay by Sam Sheridan, based on a book by Stephen King. The episode is directed by Brad Turner, not Jack Better, so he's not going to direct all the episodes.
Yeah, I guess I had that wrong.
Yes, similarly to how I was wrong about Amanda Rowe directing all Revival episodes
well,
this season.
You know, it happens.
But Brad Turner does have a From connection. He directed a couple episodes of that series.
Nice. Do you know which ones?
Actually, I think he did Book 47. I'm pretty sure that was one of his.
Okay.
Yep. I'd have to look back into that, but yeah.
I thought it was Book 74.
That's probably the one.
It was a 4 and a 7, which are the From numbers.
Right.
Which, good time to bring this up. I went back and rewatched episode 1 of The Institute after it dropped on MGM. And I noticed Luke's house number is 47.
Oh, okay.
Which, 4 and 7, those are our From numbers. It feels like a little From nod.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so before going further, I'll tell you a couple things. One, this is not a free podcast. If you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend you go and check it out, and then come back and give us a listen. Secondly, if you're listening to one of the platforms of this podcast now available on, please follow, and feel free to check out our YouTube channel, Korman Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're already on our YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to our channel. All right, so I do have a shout-out.
Yay!
For Latrice, who regularly commented on our From content. Yep, she actually said that she was excited to see our video drop on The Institute, that we are her favorite From podcasters. So she went and checked out the episode, subscribed to MGM Plus for the first time because she had not actually done that for From, and she watched the episode, and she thought our podcast was great. The episode gave her Severance vibes. I did ask her to elaborate on that. She did not end up doing that, but I'm actually kind of curious what she means by the Severance vibes. And I know you didn't watch that show. But
I didn't, but I think I know all the main twists just from, spoiler life.
All right, so thank you for that,
Yes,
Latrice.
thank you. That was a very amazing compliment to receive.
Absolutely.
To know someone's actually listening to what we have to say and enjoying it.
I know. I mean, those people are out there. They do exist. There's more than one. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
All right, so Stacie, your thoughts on the third episode of The Institute? I was almost about to say From, but no, The Institute.
There's so many things that we talk about now. I don't even know what show we're talking about anymore. Okay, so Graduation. It feels like a good continuation of the story. This show really seems, it's not very episodic at all, right?
Right.
It feels like we have this just continuing story. I feel like on rewatch later, we're not going to have a clue what happened in which episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's hard to talk about, like, an episode because it just feels so like it's one story. I feel like this would be a good series to binge.
Absolutely.
Which I'm sure we'll do that eventually once all the episodes are available.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel like it's just continuing to give us nuance of character development. We're getting to know these kids pretty well. The two storylines are kind of starting to intersect a little bit.
Right.
Like, we know that's where it's going, and I'm eager for it to get there instead of feeling like we're watching two separate shows.
Yes.
So we get a little bit of that episode, and still not enough for me, but I'm feeling confident that we're getting there soon. Of where Tim's story and the kids' stories are going to, like, actually come together and do something besides cutting back and forth between them.
Yeah, that is my big question at this point is how, we kind of know how these stories relate a little bit, but how exactly is Tim's story and Luke's story, for instance, going to intersect?
Right,
exactly.
Right, which was the big teaser for the series, right?
Yes.
Was that they're destined to intersect. But now Tim has radar on the Institute after this episode, so we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm also curious: are we going to get to actually go into back half next episode?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We know that Kalisha is there at this point. Spoiler alert. We warned you. Go watch the episode and then come back and check us out. But yeah, Kalicia's in back half now. I mean,
are we going to follow her view, or are we not going to get to see it until Luke sees it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that it seems like he would be the last to end up there.
Right,
so
literally the last, because Avery should make it there long before him, since he's so much stronger.
Right, exactly. So, I think we will kind of gain contact with her through Avery at some point, but that's a good question as to when. Do we have anything else to say before diving in?
I want to revisit a couple things from episodes 1 and 2 we talked about last week. So as of when we recorded 1 and 2, there were some of the actors, some of the like end credit actors that I wasn't able to match up on IMDb, but those credits have been added at this point for those episodes. So I just want to re-shout out some of them. A lot of them, there's not really much to say. The whole reason that I couldn't find them is because this is their first credit for a lot of them.
Right. Okay.
So they didn't exist. So it's not, I feel better about my inability to locate some of them.
Okay.
Because I know their profiles just did not exist when I looked.
Gotcha.
But let's see. First we had the bartender, who's actually in this episode as well. He's played by Alexander Abriel, and this is his first credit. So that's why I couldn't find him last week. And then we have Boy, Malcolm Roberts. This is also his first credit. He was in episode 1 at the test, as well as girl number 2. Again, this is her first credit. So I know it doesn't feel like I'm giving a whole lot of new information here, but I did want to acknowledge that these people are on IMDb now if anybody does want to go check them out. That was Emily Lux that played girl number 2. Heather, which was Will's wife, that's Bob Mann's character. So the wife, Heather, is played by Joanne Broderick. She has one other credit. It's for an art department credit for a short. Lady on the Stairs, played by Beverly Smith, and Waitress, played by Laura Peterson, both of their first credits as well. So they have brand new IMDb profiles. And then the name I'm going to fail to pronounce, our person who got shot last week, Gutale Dobira, played by Tawa McCarthy.
Okay.
Again, sure I'm saying this so wrong. He was actually the director of a film called Death and the King's Horseman.
Okay.
And his only other acting credits were for 2 shorts. So all in all, I think I didn't do too terrible with who I was able to match up and who I wasn't, because most of those people literally didn't have pages yet, and that's why I couldn't find them. So congratulations to all of these people who just got their first IMDb credits.
And I'm sure they'll have many more.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing feeling when you pop up on IMDb for the first time.
Yes, I certainly remember my first time appearing on Internet Movie Database. It's a pretty exciting time.
Yeah.
So we're now on Internet Movie Database thanks to this podcast. So that's pretty awesome.
Last I updated, we had 267 episodes.
Oh wow!
So this is close to 270 at this point.
Okay.
I think. That's crazy.
I know, right?
How did that happen?
I don't know. We were productive, but I can't imagine that we produced about 200 hours worth of...
So much more than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
A lot of them are more than an hour long.
Yes.
And most of them are close to an hour.
Right, if not more.
Right.
All right.
So any actors and people out there involved in these shows, if you want to come on our podcast and get a credit, reach out to us, and we'd love to have you on the show.
Absolutely. All right. So, diving in?
Let's dive into graduation.
All right. So the episode begins with Luke being escorted by Tony to testing. Luke makes a sarcastic remark, which Tony humorously, I should say, tells him to shut up. It's pretty clear that he does not like Luke very much here.
Yeah, I don't think he likes anybody.
No,
he's
probably.
a pretty violent and just miserable human being from everything we've seen about him.
Right. So he's escorted into a testing, and this time Dr. Hendricks handles the shot while Tony stands by, appearing to hold a trach kit. It's pretty clear to me that this is not the standard protocol. Because as you know from the last two episodes, basically Dr. Hendricks is now rushing trying to get Luke into the PC track.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure what they're doing here is not the same thing they would typically be doing.
I got the impression this was a different drug they injected him with, because Luke was like, what did you do to me? Mm-hmm. So what he was experiencing felt different than the first time.
Yep. So Luke is struggling for a bit. He's struggling to breathe, but he eventually manages to do so he does not need to get trached. But Luke is not having a good time at this moment. A monitor is wheeled in front of him. He's instructed to look at the monitor and not look away. And if he looks away, he'll get hit by Tony and then zapped the second time.
Yeah, Tony really likes zapping people.
Yeah.
He does it a couple times in this episode.
That he does. He kind of reminds me of like the Percy Whitmore character from The Green Mile, or I'm trying to think of another Stephen King example, but kind of along that villain of just a totally nasty type of guy. Luke struggles to keep his eyes on the screen or off of it. I'm not sure which he's trying to do here. Is he struggling to keep his eyes on the screen?
I think he's just struggling.
Yes, in general.
No matter what is happening, he's not having, like you said, he's not having a good time.
Right.
He's in a lot of discomfort. He knows if he looks away, and he does get hit for looking away one time.
And then he gets zapped too.
I think he's trying to comply, but also trying to fight it, because the kids keep making this sound like it's so bad to actually do it.
Right.
So, like, what do you do? What are you trying to get accomplished here?
Right. At this point, just to survive.
Right. You want to just do whatever you have to do to make it end, right?
Right, basically. So, Tony has hit him once, and then we see the dots appear. And Dr. Hendricks says that he's surprised by this. He wasn't expecting Luke to see anything at this time.
Well, the way I interpreted it is Hendricks is pretending he didn't see the dots.
Oh, okay.
Because Luke doesn't admit he sees the dots,
mm-hmm.
right? And this is the game like the kids are constantly saying is Nikki's like, well, just lie and don't tell them when you see them. And I forget which character it was. One of the other characters told Luke, don't lie. They know when you're lying. Just be honest with them. So whatever Hendricks is looking at on his computer screen, he's reading like the brainwaves or something. He can tell. He doesn't actually need verbal confirmation that Luke can see them. He can see that whatever's supposed to be happening is happening. But he's like, oh, never mind. I wasn't expecting him to see him anyways. I really think Hendricks is pretending he doesn't know he saw them.
So he can lie about Luke's progress, basically.
Right. Because remember, his whole thing is to tell Sigsbee, oh, he's really slow. He's not really doing well.
So I'm
to keep him here so he can do the other stuff with him. I'm
guessing Tony is not involved in whatever Dr. Hendricks has going on.
I can't tell. So on my first time watching this, that was my thought was, oh, he's lying for Tony's sake.
Right.
But then Tony stays for the next bit.
Right.
Which is that part of regular testing, or is that part of this other thing they're trying to do?
Not sure.
Because then at that point all the nurses are gone. So on rewatch I thought, oh, maybe he's just lying for the sake of the nurses or whatever these other assistants are to get them out of here. But Tony's in on it because he's staying for the next part.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard to tell like what's regular protocol and what's like something off
we
haven't
really
actually
seen it. Yeah. All right. So.
But he's lying about something to someone, right?
Yep. So we cut away. Tim wakes up in the morning. To his alarm clock, he gets ready. Well, actually, I'm not even really.
It's evening, right? He's on his way, and he even says like, "Oh, night shift."
Right.
It's like 6 p.m. or something. He's getting ready to go to his night work.
So yeah, he gets ready. He passes Norbit, who we've seen 3 episodes in a row now. So I'm assuming that we're going to see that this is actually a more important character.
I think he's going to end up doing something.
Yeah.
Remember, Annie had an issue with him and was like, "Don't talk to him." So he's got to be something.
Right.
At some point, I think.
Right. Meanwhile, Luke is passed out in the chair. Tony and Hendricks wake him up. Luke asks to go back to his room. Hendricks says the disorientation will pass, and he has some cards in his hands. Hendricks wants him to guess what's on them, but Luke calls out the wrong answer. He's very emotional. He's very sick. He's not feeling very well. He intentionally answers, or actually, I'm not even really sure. I'm not sure if he's intentionally or unintentionally answering the question wrong. I don't know if
he's trying to answer the question.
Right.
Is what it comes down to. But this goes back to just what are they trying to get out of this?
Right.
Because reading the cards obviously has nothing to do with his telekinesis.
Right. Well.
So this is more the telepathy or PC.
Right. Yes.
And And that brings me back to, what is their goal? Is their goal to enhance, like, all of it?
Right.
I mean, obviously we know they're not supposed to be handling PC, but they're doing telepathy and telekinesis in this building, right?
Right.
Are they trying to elevate both, even though the subject only has one exhibiting at recruitment?
I'm thinking...
Because I feel like the wrong letters have been said for the wrong kids in random conversation.
Okay.
So I feel like they're trying to get them to do both, even though they only came in with one.
Yeah, I think they are trying to at least develop the other skill a little bit more, along with the main skill, more than it currently is. I think they're trying to maximize the kids somehow, in some way.
Right.
But yes, so yeah, Hendrix. Oh yeah, okay. So Hendrix wants him to guess what's on the cards. Who keeps calling out the wrong answer, and Tony ends up zapping him for it. Luke is taken back to his room, where Tony gives him the sage advice: next time, try not to be a pussy. And Luke slides down his door and cries.
Yeah, my note says he came back to his room crying and broken. Like, this session was hard on him.
Yes. Wendy and Tim. Wendy tells him he still owes a report. Tim asks what happens if he doesn't file one at all. And she says that Drew's account becomes the official one. She reads from Drew's report, which is big. And basically she knows that that Tim is responsible for all this stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody knows.
Right. And she wonders why he doesn't want any of the credit, why it doesn't bother him that Drew would get the credit, if he's on the run or something. And, yeah, basically, he says to cut Drew some slack. She says, hey, I cut Drew plenty of slack. Is that the scene, or did it...
Yeah, this is the same scene.
Okay. And she's basically like, oh, I give him plenty of plenty of slack. And he's like, well, why don't you cut me some? It's like, well, why would I do that? Well, I'm a nice guy. Hey, nice guys don't have to tell you that they're nice. And then that's the end of that.
Yeah, she's got really harsh feelings against him.
I'm not totally sure this is the same. I think there's the thaw that we saw in the last episode. That's still the case here. This feels like she's still giving him shit, but it feels a little bit different. And I'm not sure why exactly. It feels almost like her flirting style, almost, if that makes any sense.
But she's definitely not cutting him slack.
No, definitely not.
Also, during this conversation, we learned that the perps have been caught.
Yes.
And the man is in recovery. And that the ER is 2 hours away, and he would have bled out if not for the pre-care that Tim did.
I'd imagine that regardless of how far away the hospital would be, that if Tim did not do what Tim did, that he would be dead.
Right.
Regardless, if it was 15, 20, 50 minutes away. Like, you know what I mean?
It just boggles my mind that the ER is 2 hours away.
Hey, we're in small town territory.
I know, but I guess I'm just used to us being in a small state.
Yeah, okay.
Where there's nowhere we could go that we're more than a half hour from a hospital.
Right.
No matter which direction you go in, one of the hospitals is within a half hour of you.
If not that, you also have a bunch of urgent care centers all around. So, yeah. Much improved. Luke is in the cafeteria hanging out with Nick when Kalisha comes in. Avery is getting cereal standing next to Maureen. They talk about his powers, how much stronger he is than Kalisha, and Luke goes on to talk about how basically Avery didn't get the chance to develop any kind of social skills because he doesn't need to. He can just read people. And it's funny because I listened a little bit last night to the audio to sleep. I went to bed listening to the audio version of The Institute, and I didn't actually catch much of the story because I was basically going to sleep. But one thing I did note is this conversation about Avery being weird because he never developed getting social cues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That was actually something that Kalisha was discussing and not Luke in the book.
Okay.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting change. Avery, I don't know, do we call out his credits last week?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Vigo, Handbelt, I'm just going to say it again because I don't think I did. 11 credits, some Christmas movies, Plan B, and Three Pines. Is that what you had for him?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And Plan B sounds like some kind of time travel-y show. I don't know if you looked into it at all.
Plan B.
It also sounds like a birth control thing, but the actual show is about time travel.
I didn't look into that, no.
No? Okay, so Avery comes over to them and tells them, "You can trust me. I hate this place as much as you do, and I want to get out of here as much as you do." Kalisha goes to give him some cereal and a banana, which,
she goes to get milk for his cereal. So he brought over a bowl of cereal, but didn't bother to get milk or the banana for himself when he was standing right next to it. Kalisha's, mothering him.
Yes.
She has taken on the role of being the person caring for Avery, because he is very young.
Yes, it is funny, though, because Kalisha is not the only person who does that. Luke kind of takes charge of him as well and acts like a big brother to him throughout the episode. When Kalisha comes back, Avery sells them all out, telling Kalisha that Luke likes him, but she likes Nick, and Nick knows this but doesn't care. And Nick's over here looking amused. His expression is more complicated when he talks about basically Nick getting hurt a bunch of times, and he's like, "Oh, that wasn't fair what happened back in the day." He has more just more pain on his face than just simple amusement. But I love everybody's low-key reaction to just getting outed like that.
Right.
Luke is just whatever. But yeah, Kalisha's like, "Okay, guess we got to put the monkey back on the leash." Nick makes a Fight Club reference that Avery doesn't get. I mean, he could just read the guy's mind, so I'm not sure why he even is like, "Oh, I don't get that reference." When he...
Well, I mean, knowing that it's something he knows doesn't necessarily give him the whole plot of the movie.
Gotcha. Right. So basically, Luke tells him that he needs to learn when to keep his mouth shut, despite despite having all their feelings outed. None of them seem mad at Avery. They're all just kind of amused.
I think it's more about just learning how Avery functions and how his brain works.
Yeah.
And one thing too is if he's so blunt to say things, sure, he's going to be useful to them because he can read the adults' minds, but also, is there any danger of him just spilling all their secrets without even thinking about it, their secrets about their escape plans? Right,
exactly. Also, it's kind of interesting. Once again, we have the triangle dynamics here, the love triangle, and it doesn't affect any of their relationships. Nick is still plotting with Luke. Nothing changes here. And I kind of like how underplayed that all is.
Well,
they don't make it for high drama.
Sure, we have like crushes going on, but none of these characters have known each other for more than 2 weeks.
Fair.
And they're in a very dire situation.
Yes.
They know their love life is not top priority right now.
No, you don't say. All right. Maureen goes to Miss Sigsbee to report on the kids. She says, everyone follows Kalisha's lead. I don't know that that's necessarily true, by the way. I think that might be false information. Luke might be a different matter, however. He's basically constantly testing or checking out the security. Stackhouse, who was in the room, is like, "You're wasting my time." Everybody checks out the security. Nobody's ever actually done anything about it.
Yeah.
He's basically very rude.
And then he leaves, spouting a bunch of code words I didn't understand, like opal and something else. They very definitely didn't want us to know what he's talking about.
Right.
So yeah, the main point of this is, Maureen's not this obvious choice of who we can trust, because she is going and reporting directly to Sigsbee.
Right.
Everything she hears the kids say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that still doesn't tell us, would she rat them out, or is she just reporting because it's part of her job to report?
Right.
We don't really know. And I think that's where we're left, is she's just kind of... There's still questions, right, of where her loyalties might lay when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Luke, she's right. But, everybody follows Kalisha's lead. Is that even true? I think that might just be bullshit that she's beating Sigsbee right now. So I think it's a little bit ambiguous as to whether she's actually being helpful to Miss Sigsbee or not.
Right, but there's definitely potential there that she could tell.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So it's casting shadows of doubts on her as a character, whether she is actually the one or not.
Right.
But yeah, anyway. Sigsbee, so she warns Maureen about Avery to basically to keep her distance, because she can read people's minds really clearly, even if she is guarded. And she's like, if his baseline is really that high, then I doubt he'll be here that long anyway.
Yeah, she's basically like, just stay away from him.
Right.
And she's leaving because the keyhole's about to open. And Maureen offers to clean Sigsbee's office while she's gone, which I thought was a weird line. I'm questioning if she's snooping.
That's what I was thinking too. But yeah. So, Sigsbee goes to the hall, runs into Dr. Hendricks. She's intending to go to the keyhole, but Dr. Hendricks makes a comment about Luke being a weak candidate and decides to do something else instead because this kicks off little warning bells in Miss Sigsbee's mind because she thinks that this, and knows for a fact that this is bullshit. So Miss Sigsbee goes back to her office and checks surveillance tapes. She knows exactly which file to go to get to the point where Dr. Hendricks and Stackhouse are talking. And then she notes as he disables the cameras.
Yeah, the audio cuts off, and we can see Stackhouse hitting a button on a remote from his pocket, which is when the audio cuts out.
Right.
And remember, she had overheard them talking after this, like when they walked home.
Yeah.
So I think that's how she knew when she was looking for.
Oh, okay.
It's like, that moment, like where were they right before that?
Gotcha. Okay. So she's horrified and quietly says, "Asshole." Meanwhile, Avery has sent something in Kalisha and tells her that she should just say it. She says she saw the dots, which so did Luke, by the way.
Well, she saw the dots in the dream box, which we know that's that final test.
Right, but it seems like she was going to do the final test next. It seems like she hasn't actually done that yet.
Well, I think they do the dream box multiple times.
Okay, gotcha. So, which means she'll be going to back half soon. Luke says if she can fight it, the dream box, but she doesn't think so. It's the worst thing that they do here, and Hendricks says that if you fight it, you can end up getting an aneurysm. My question is, are you really going to trust what Dr. Hendricks tells you? Because he doesn't exactly have your best interests at heart.
But also, if you fight it, you're just doing it longer.
Yeah, so it's you can't win, basically.
Right.
All right. So Avery suddenly gets a very far away look, drawing concerns from Luke and Kalisha, and suddenly they all seem to sense it. And Annie from her tent also seems to sense it. It's a little unclear to me at first. Like, I thought maybe like Avery was both hearing the hum and getting in touch with Annie at the same time.
Yeah, I thought
but
he was communicating with Annie the first time I watched it. But definitely, like what we learned later, is that the hum woke Annie up.
Right.
So they're all hearing something that other people aren't hearing because they're in tune with it.
Right. Luke asks what that was, and they tell him it's back half stuff that happens every now and again. Mrs. Sigsbee calls...
And they said this was a particularly strong one.
Right.
So obviously this is the keyhole opening, whatever that means.
Right.
Because we were told that was about to happen.
I have an idea about that, but we'll get to that later. So Miss Sigsbee calls Mystery Man...
Jeff Fahey.
Yep. And tells him her suspicions about a possible security risk in Stackhouse, but she has no proof except that she does have some proof.
She has something, and she doesn't even get to anything.
Right. You figure she'd like, I have this like little video clip that kind of casts suspicions on him. Can you take a look at it?
Right.
But she doesn't get that very far. He basically is like, hey, look, I don't put any stock in Stackhouse's gossip against you. I'm not going to do the same for you against him. And basically just hangs up the phone.
And she's like, what do you mean, him against me? Like,
right.
She had no idea. So they're both, complaining about each other. We know Stackhouse is the one
right.
that's trying to do shady shit against the Institute.
Yes.
But Jeff Fahey doesn't know that. He thinks they just don't like each other.
Right. And, he's tired of the office gossip, basically.
Yeah. Also, during this scene, we see her taking a staple remover and punching a hole in her finger.
What is with her character?
She has some interesting connections to pain.
Yes. I'm wondering if we're going to explore that.
Which is weird.
Yes. Yeah. On the one hand, I'm kind of curious about that. On the other hand, I'm not sure I want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Tim does his rounds. Annie is playing hopscotch and talks about the hum, which Tim can't hear. She says it's because he was, because of what they started doing in the 60s. Basically, he has brain damage as a result.
Yeah, she's saying, because he was born in the 80s, he was exposed to some kind of poisoning through chemtrails or something.
Yep.
He was born in 82, by the way, same as me.
Yep, and that makes him a year younger than me. And she starts talking about a plane crash and how it wasn't an accident. So she picks up on the fact that he thinks that she is crazy. He suggests that she could talk to someone, preferably a therapist, and that perhaps nowadays there are better prescriptions out there than what his mother had available to him. He brings up Haldol, which is a really strong antipsychotic drug. She says she never touches drugs or alcohol, which is significant. Mm-hmm. And as he leaves, she tells him to keep his eyes open, all of his eyes open, and he ends up pointing to his forehead.
To his third eye.
Yeah.
Like he knew exactly what she meant.
Right.
She specifically notes her last drink was February 1st, 2003.
That's a long time.
Meaning she knows exactly when she stopped drinking. She is very sober, like aware of when she took her last drink.
Gotcha. So Avery and Luke walk in the halls. Avery says that Tony hates them, and he wanted to kick Luke as he walked by. Avery puts the idea of licorice into Luke's head, despite the fact that Luke hates them. And basically, this is so that Avery can get the licorice instead.
Yeah, and in that scene with Tony, we also met a new character, Fred the janitor.
Yes.
We haven't met Fred before. He is played by Stephen Arnold, and this is Stephen's first credit.
Luke calls Avery a cabinet of curiosities. And, by the way, they're also holding hands as they're walking through these halls. So, like I said, he's kind of acting like a big brother / father figure at the same time.
So it's like the teenagers have to, step up taking care of this young child because none of the adults are doing anything.
Of course not. So they pass Maureen as they round the corner, and basically they go behind this really not even that sharp of a corner. Like Maureen could still see that.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there a reason you guys couldn't just keep walking and get out of distance? But so he basically asks about what Maureen, what he's reading from Maureen. He gets really excited. She hates it here almost as much as they do, but she's really sad. And she also tells Miss Sigsbee things, which means that they can't trust her. She hates the things that the kids talk about as well. So,
and he also says that Maureen has a big secret. And the insinuation I got is that Avery tells Luke the secret, but we don't get to see it.
Right.
So there's more. The kids know more than we do at this point. And later there's a scene where I'm really confused at what we're watching, and it's like, because they're planning stuff, but they're not letting the audience in on what the plans are.
Gotcha. So also I should point out the fact that the actor who plays Avery, which I mentioned at the top, what's his name?
Viggo Hanvelt.
He's exceptionally great too.
Yeah.
This is he did a really great job in this episode. He has more credits than a lot of these other kids, but they have a really talented group of kids here. So I just wanted to point that out. So where was I in my notes? Okay. Tim goes to the bar. My first response to seeing him walk into a bar is, what the hell are you doing here? Now, I was eyeing his drink the entire time. I'm pretty sure that that's not beer. He's getting like a soda or something.
Yeah.
Now, we don't ever identify the drink, but that is definitely, I think he definitely got a soda there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the only reason he's going into the bar is because it's the only place open in the middle of the night.
That
and
absolutely makes
thirsty.
sense. that absolutely makes sense, but it set up alarm bells in my head, given what they established about the character in the first episode of the series.
Yeah. Well, no, he even turns down a shot a little later in the season, the sequence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he was just like, hey, I need a beverage right now.
So Kate's there. He sits 5 feet away from her, and she asks, hey, well, what? Do I have cooties? They get into a conversation. They end up sitting closer, and she ends up basically joining him. She offers him a shot, which he turns down. He asks, what does she do? And she says a web designer, reporter. She leaves out the fact that she's also an assassin at the same time.
Well, I mean, yeah. So she says she's running the local paper, and he introduced himself as the new night knocker. She brings up the old night knocker, and apparently he's dead. I don't know if we knew that already.
I don't know if we did, but I'm wondering if they killed him too.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, not that they've killed Tim yet, but they could.
But yeah, that's the thing. The whole don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what Annie had told him. Don't trust anybody. I think by the end of this episode, he's going to take that to heart and stop freaking trusting people.
Right. You would think so.
My question here is who do we think there's other people in this town involved? Are one of the cops in on the Institute shit?
You mean like Wendy or Drew?
Wendy or Drew, or maybe even the
sheriff.
The sheriff.
Ashworth.
I don't think he's a
Chief.
sheriff. Chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Annie didn't trust the police.
Right.
Do we think one of them might be in on it? On watching the whatever and keeping tabs on who's talking?
Maybe. But
somebody. I feel like one of these people has to be in on it besides Kate.
Definitely Kate, and I was actually cringing throughout this scene. We cut to... Nope. Okay, so she brings up the shooting at the gas station, but not Tim's involvement. He doesn't bring up the fact that he was actually involved.
So he's asking, like, hey, does anything ever happen around here?
Right.
And she's like, oh, did you hear about that shooting?
Right.
Now, I'm curious, does she know he was involved? Does she know who he is?
Not sure.
Or was this just happenstance that he stumbled upon her?
I think it's kind of happenstance. It's a rather unfortunate happenstance. But yeah, he notices something on the TV. It's a plane crash, which freaks him out. He starts talking about the Institute, wondering what they do down there. Does it involve mind control, telepathy? Kate says that's very boring. She asks where he got all that from, and Tim brings up Annie, which basically be sealing her bait right now. But she actually knows about Annie, meaning the Institute is also aware of her existence, you would think. They just don't, for whatever reason, consider her a threat.
Right, until she actually got something right.
So I'm actually kind of curious. Does that indicate that Annie was not in fact ever at the Institute, or that she was? They let her out, and they just don't care about her right now, or?
I mean, I don't know if this really gives us any clues to that. But I think it means she is a crazy old lady.
Yes.
Right? She is crazy, even though she also is telepathic.
Yes.
And maybe they didn't even know that she is telepathic, that she does actually know things.
Right.
But people are aware of her as, like, yeah, that crazy old lady that lives in the alley.
All right, so
now
this seems to indicate that whatever they're doing at the Institute, the keyhole thing, was responsible for crashing this plane.
Right.
So they're using the kids to crash this plane.
Right. So the plane crashed, and there was a senator from North Dakota on it who died.
Right. Now, maybe the senator wasn't a target. Maybe it was just a happenstance that he was on the plane. I doubt it. But for whatever reason, they decided the senator needed to die.
Yeah.
And I'm not totally sure what that's about. Like, was he about to vote on something that
I feel like it's got to be bigger than just politics.
Right.
You know what it makes me think of is Travelers. Did you watch that series?
No, but we've talked about it. Actually, I watched a couple episodes of that.
So Travelers is where people from the future time travel to the past, which is our present, and they like body snatch. So they take over the bodies of people who were going to die. So instead of the people dying, the people from the future now have their lives. But part of the plots is like, oh, we have to save, like they're doing things in the past, which again is our present, to fix problems in the future, right? Like world-ending type of problems. So they're trying to do they have very specific like objectives. Like, oh, we have to save this person's life. We have to kill this person. We have to stop this event, which is going to cascade. So it made me feel like that. Like, oh, they needed this person to die for some reason.
Right.
Especially since we're possibly talking about like PC meaning precognition. Like, does this have something to do with future events that we know about for some reason?
So basically, the senator could be doing nothing right now, but do something in the future that they don't like.
Right.
Okay. And
or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's some reason, like maybe even like a legit good reason. Like maybe because we've been hinted that, hey, they're saving the world.
Yes.
So that doesn't mean that even though they're like doing really shady shit, that they aren't actually having some like legit good cause that they're working towards.
Yeah, I mean we
don't know that they don't.
If that's the case, that's some interesting, definitely some interesting material to explore for sure.
Or
like the ethics about that. And
aliens, that could always be a thing.
Right.
Annie did seem to indicate there are like lizard people among us because she was talking about how you gotta be careful, they look just like us, except their little toes curl or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So it's gonna just turn into V.
So I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be like, hey, we're trying to stop these lizard people, and the senator was one of them.
Okay.
I mean, anything's possible at this point.
Right, yeah.
But I don't think it's as boring as, oh, he was a political problem for us, so we took him out. Like, there's easier ways to do that, right?
Right.
Than, like, you're using telepathy and telekinesis and all this whatever we're doing.
Right.
Like, there's more to it than that. This is a Stephen King story.
Right, of course.
So it's not just political. There's some kind of weird sci-fi shit going on here.
Right. So he asks what they're doing there. Kate says pretty much nothing. It's just a Cold War relic, government waste. She says it's late. She does not take him home and shoot him in the head. So there is that.
Yeah, so she's going to take care of the news he just gave her about Annie.
Yeah, so she's basically going to go off to kill Annie. Oh, it's late. I have to go assassinate someone.
Yeah, and she pretends that her favorite theory is that it's a Sasquatch breeding ground. So she tells him, like, hey, get me an exclusive photo of Bigfoot. And I don't know exactly what she said, but
something along
she's
those
playing,
lines.
She's playing the reporter, like she's trying to find out what's there. But while not letting him think that she has any interest in the thoughts of telepathy.
George takes shots at the basket in the courtyard. He completely misses. All these kids really suck at basketball. Not that I'm any better. That's why I filmed the games and didn't actually play in them. Avery throws a frisbee. Nick says, good throw. And he's being very condescending and sarcastic about it. And Avery is like, he doesn't really think that was a good throw. And Luke is basically like, no shit. But he didn't need telepathy for that. So Nick and Luke talk about the guards and basically like talking about their rotations and whatever. Avery says he loves dogs and then says they don't guard their thoughts, so you can ride with them. And we see Avery getting into the dog's head, and we get shots from the dog's perspective, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, so he's seeing the dog go outside of the view of where the kids can see. And he sees another playground, except it's overgrown. The fence is rusty. Now, they had already examined the fence in their playground and decided they can't dig under it. Like, it's impenetrable, right?
Right.
But this other fence, we come to the conclusion that if we were over there, we could dig under it because the dog's able to dig under it. They don't think anybody's ever in this playground. It's abandoned and old.
Right.
So now their plan is if we can get there, we can escape.
So Kalisha comes out. She's in really bad shape after the last session in the dream box. She connected to the hum. She hugs Avery, and then she says, you won't see me no more.
Yeah, she's in really, really bad shape. She comes out with a bottle of booze, and she's smoking. She's, like, having a midlife crisis, this 14-year-old girl.
Cut to her goodbye party. Everybody looks miserable. Nick spits in the cake. Miss Sigsbee says, I should make you eat that.
I counted the candles on her cake, by the way. She had 19 candles.
Was she there that long?
Well, remember, we learned that when she first came, she was put in quarantine.
Right.
So that extended her stay.
Why not wait till after the chickenpox cleared to grab her?
I mean, I don't know.
All right, so Avery tells Kalisha that they will stay in touch. Kalisha, who's been, basically fence-sitting this entire time, whether going to the back app is a good thing or not, she's crying. So it seems like she thinks...
she's lost her suspension of disbelief here that everything's going to be okay.
Right. So, yeah, Luke tries to get Avery to get a read on Miss Sigsbee, but he reads nothing. Nick comforts Kalisha, and then Luke moves Avery and George to another table.
Yeah, so this is where they're kibitzing about something that we don't know. Luke was talking to Avery.
Yeah.
And then Luke switches off with George, and George is talking to Avery, and Luke's talking to Maureen. It feels like they're orchestrating something.
Yeah. At the same time, I was kind of curious if Luke was also trying to get the two of them privacy while they say goodbye to each other.
I mean, I thought of that too, but it felt deeper than that.
Gotcha.
It felt like we need to talk.
Gotcha.
Right? Like the way he passed off, like, okay, now George is going to go sit with him.
Okay.
I feel like they were sharing a plan with each other.
Okay. So Luke goes to Maureen and tries to push her in the general direction of trying to get them to help. basically says, you can still help before it's too late. She ends up basically in tears. Luke gets everyone back to the table where they hold hands. Not sure what they're doing exactly.
I think that Kalicia's trying to, like, pull energy from them or something. Their goal right now is to keep in touch after she moves.
Right.
But it's not just her and Avery forming a connection. So, yeah, they're doing something, right?
Right.
It makes Sigsbee nervous.
Right.
That the kids seem organized.
Right. And she thinks it's time to break them up. She has Tony grab Kalisha, which is interesting, which sends Nick into a rage. He ends up getting shocked. This is the second time in a row in this episode that Tony ends up shocking somebody. He falls onto Luke as he's being tased. But he's still trying to go after him and basically try to stop Kalisha from leaving. While Luke is desperately holding on to him to try to keep him from going after him and doing something stupid and possibly getting hurt. It's also kind of impressive that Luke is even able to do this, because look at Luke and look at Nick.
Yeah, but he's down for the count right now.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, so he's still suffering from the effects of being shocked,
right?
While he's still trying to get away. So he's weaker at this moment, which is why Luke is able to get
And we also
back.
have Kalisha telling him, "Don't fight it. It's not the time."
Right.
And I don't know if it was Tony or the other guard that was there. Somebody says it's never going to be the time. I also kind of feel like all of this was theatrics.
Really?
I mean, not all of it, but I feel like this is part of their plan.
To what end?
I don't know. To throw off the staff on, like, them possibly having a plan.
What?
This isn't the time.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they showed more cards than they would have if they didn't mean to.
Okay. So it's kind of interesting, too, that Tony is the one that's escorting Kalisha and not Maureen. Maureen ended up taking Iris down.
Right.
But now Tony is. Is there, maybe that was the plan, to get Tony to leave the room so that they could have more time with Maureen?
I don't know, maybe. But I feel like there's some theatrics happening here.
Okay.
I definitely feel like there's more in play already than we're aware of.
Gotcha.
With what these kids are doing.
All right. So we cut to Tim, who's calling for Annie. You know, I've watched enough television programs, and so have you, to know exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
The instant he starts calling for Annie, it's like, she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we basically do that. Kalisha is being led down the hallway towards back half. She crosses through a door. Luke sits with Avery as he's tracking her with his mind. Miss Sigsbee is monitoring them from her office, so she knows they're up to something.
Yeah, but they're sitting with their backs to the camera, so they're very aware that they're being watched.
Right. It's actually kind of interesting. Why would they sit there if they didn't want to be monitored? Because there's other places they can go where they wouldn't be monitored.
Right.
So yeah, maybe that goes to the theatrics things. Maybe they're doing this shit on purpose.
Maybe. You know what? Maybe, and I just thought of this. Maybe he didn't lose contact with her.
Okay.
Maybe the whole thing was to get the staff to think that they're trying to be secretive about keeping a connection.
Okay.
And to think that they lost the connection.
Okay.
But really, they didn't lose it.
Interesting. Maybe it's possible. So Tim calls for Annie. Kalisha keeps marching down the hallway. Avery starts having some trouble keeping track of her. Tim moves towards the tent. He opens it. His face registers shock because she's very dead, but we're of course not going to see that just yet. Kalisha and Tony move further down the tunnel. Tim sees a very dead Annie. Tony smiles evilly at Kalisha as he opens the door. Presumably this is the last door in the back half.
Yeah.
Tim looks distraught. He then notices pills and alcohol by her, which seem to indicate to him that this is not like suicide or
overdose,
an accident of any kind. He's pretty confident at this. I mean, he should be.
Right.
That this is murder.
Right. And he's obviously going to know who to blame for that.
Right. Well, I don't know.
But who can he go to? Who can he trust? Is he going to, at this moment, realize Annie was right? You can't trust anybody.
Right. Kalisha goes to the doors. Avery cries out that he lost her. Luke comforts him and tells him that they will find her again. And the episode ends with Miss Sigsbee watching them from the monitors. And you know, you actually said something while we were watching this episode. You asked the question, you know, you have all these kids with powers. Why would you not separate them?
Right.
And my answer to that question is I think it just comes down to human arrogance. They think that they are smarter, that they have complete control of the situation, that the kids are not going to be able to turn against them. So it's just complete arrogance on their part. And eventually, presumably, that will end up biting them in the ass.
I hope so. I
Right.
hope the kids win.
I mean, that's who I'm rooting for in this series.
Unless, of course, oops, we just broke the world by ending this program.
Right. Well, that would be an interesting ending. You know, we end this program and up.
The kids won, we escaped, we shut down the Institute, and oh wait, that means the world's going to end because
Right.
they really were saving the world.
And then there's a nuclear missile that just wipes everything out.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very...
That would be a very Stephen King.
Stephen King ending is we destroyed the world. That's happened more than once in Stephen King universes.
Yes. Yeah, so that was a pretty decent episode. Still very interested to see where this series is going. I think this is definitely living up to its hype as a quality show to watch.
I am really enjoying it, and one of the things I find so interesting is that so many of the cast are not big names. Like,
No.
there's a few big names, but like we have so many of these kids that like have never done anything before.
Yeah.
They're holding their own.
Yeah, the one of the leads, whose name I am blanking on at the moment. Ben Barnes. He I wouldn't say he's a big name. He's been in some stuff, and he's definitely a really good actor. But yeah, he's not. I don't think he's a household name or anything like that. The closest we have to like a household name would be like Mary Louise Parker,
Right.
because she was pretty famous at one point. I don't know where her career standing is now, but at one point she was a big name. So she's probably the biggest name on this cast. Everybody else is like, I mean, we know these people, but they're not necessarily household names.
Right.
And they're all uniformly excellent.
I feel like, it doesn't feel like an amateur project.
Right.
Right? This feels like a box office production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, do we have anything else to say before concluding?
If you haven't already checked it out, join my Facebook group for the series. It's called The Institute MGM Plus Series Fans, where I'm sharing everything that comes up about the show. And it's a place where you can just kind of chit-chat and share your theories and watch along and do all of that good stuff. In, of course, addition to commenting on our videos if you'd like a shout-out.
Absolutely. All right, we'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this episode? What'd you think of this podcast? Stacie can be reached at.
I can reach out on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TV and Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Korman Productions. You can join the Korman Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Korman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Korman Productions membership for 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video as well as subscribe to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Korman Productions, signing off.